This is Eric Pepke for Dead Man Video. This episode is Brain and Brain. What is brain? Some problems with rationalism. Now, the title is a reference to an old Star Trek episode in which they take this guy's brain out and use it to run an air conditioner. It's a terribly hokey episode with hammy acting that makes it so bad it's good. But if you think about the issues in terms of cognitive science, it's actually fairly interesting because Spock's brain in the air conditioner feels that it is operating heart and lungs and things like that when it's just running the air conditioner. This shows something that science didn't really pay attention to that much until the 1980s, which is that thought, cognition itself is embodied. I won't say much more about that. You can find it out, and if you can get past the hammy acting and hokey script writing and think about it, it's probably worth doing. Now, this is a video response to two videos. One is Why the Internet Hasn't Fixed Democracy by Then and Now, and the other is Ben Shapiro is Wrong. Facts Do Care About Your Opinions by Facts Do Care About Your Feelings. Freudian slip there, by Zoe B. Both are very interesting, and there's obviously some political content, which I'm going to ignore pretty much. Most of them are based on the idea that the Enlightenment, and in particular rationalism, which was a product of the Enlightenment, has a few problems with it. Democracy, of course, is an idea that was fed by the Enlightenment, and so Then and Now explores that a little bit, but not really very far. Zoe does a bit better and points out that feelings affect cognition in such a way that they affect perception. And so whenever we talk about facts, that's always informed to some degree by our preconceived notions and our feelings and our emotions and our current mental state and all of those things. So we really don't have access to what I laughingly call reality in a strict sense. We do not perceive it really very accurately at all. These are important concepts, but they're at a fairly low level of understanding and they don't go far enough. And I think the reason both of these YouTubers don't go far enough is that rationalism itself has so pervaded the so-called Western mindset that it's hard to get away from it. It's crept into our language, it's crept into our thinking, and there are certain limitations in thinking about something that is all pervasive. Now, first I want to ask about what rationality is. If you ask most people, they'll say it has something to do with reason. But that is actually an ideological opinion, which mostly has been pervasive for the past 400 years, but wasn't really pervasive for quite a long time before that. I know that some people get what rational means, because always when they talk about what's rational in a YouTube video, there's a comment. I think it's just intended to be snarky, but it's actually quite correct. And the idea is that a ratio is a rational number, a ratio of two integers. Metaphorically, a ratio is a proportion. And when we talk about something being rational, we're really saying, metaphorically, that it's proportionate. We would say that a rational criminal justice system, if somebody were to decide actual justice were something to be pursued, would have punishments or corrections or whatever that were in proportion to behavior. You would not, for example, execute people for shoplifting as they did in the excellent Showtime version of Harrison Bergeron. And we would call that irrational to do so. But any look at our legal system shows that we do irrational things all the time. But to say that this has something to do with reason is an extra thing, which I will get to.